Okay, so we finished making a knife. Ugly as it is. And it is ugly. We made a functional, good, solid knife. For bushcraft, camping, etc. It's a utility piece. It's not pretty. Not meant to be. So I'm thinking, how am I going to carry this thing if I go out in the bush? It's going to either need a sheath or a scabbard. And I looked at both. I looked at making a proper wooden scabbard. Did the measurements, looked at materials. Yeah, I could do that. But it doesn't need that. In some ways, that might be easier to make than a sheath, but the leather I have available to me right now to make a sheath is this. It's patent. It's thick enough. It's durable. It's bright fucking red. But that's what I got. And it is, well, I do got enough of it to make a proper sheath. So that's what we're going to do. The idea is it's going to have a belt loop. It's going to have a strap to lock it closed. It's going to be stitched and riveted along the blade edge. And well, hopefully it's going to be reasonably tight enough to hold everything together. So I'll lay out a pattern for that. And, well, then I'll mark it on the leather and show you. Point of note, if you do happen to have physical newspapers floating around for some reason or another, we still get this delivered to the house, I don't know why, but it's the local newspaper and it shows up at the house for free, so whatever. But if you still have them around, just keep one around. Obviously don't collect them, just keep one sitting nearby. Because they are useful for making a pattern in a pinch. Okay? Okay. Another little bit of, we'll call it unsolicited advice on making this kind of thing, working with fabrics, leathers. The fewer seams you have, the better. The fewer panels you have, the better. The more solid the garment's going to be. So if you can make an entire pattern in one piece without having to add or stitch extra stuff on or have a lot of long seams, you're better off. This for example, there's going to be one long seam from that edge there. That's it. The rest of it's all one piece. There's no other sewing. That's going to have a snap button to go here. This is going to have 2 rivets in it to go here, folded underneath. That's it. That's the whole pattern, all in one piece. I'm going to get the knives out. I'm going to cut this, and then we're going to test fit it. Okay, I'll show you when that happens. Alright, so there we have our one-piece pattern. This belt loop portion is obviously going to be cut to length once I get it in there. But I have to make the fold. Fold this over, make it sit flat. In order to do that, what I'm going to do is fold it over and hold it in place and take a hammer and pound it down so it holds that fold. I could take the long route, soak it in water, fold it over, put it in a clamp, press it into place and let it dry. That takes too fucking long. So what I'm going to do is just fold it, take a hammer and bang on it for a little bit. That'll put the fold into it to hold it where it belongs. Then I'll be able to mark where to punch holes for snaps, for rivets, because there's going to be, as I said, that's going to be folded over. There's going to be 2 rivets in it, probably about there. There's going to be a snap marked there, on that black spot there, and I have to mark where that matches up on the front, which is that, probably about there. So I'll hammer that flat, and then I'll start marking it and punching a bunch of holes. Okay, so everything's marked and laid out. We got the holes for the rivets. Got the holes for the snap. We're going to put those in before we do any stitching. So, you've seen me do snaps and rivets and stuff before, but I'll set them up and I'll show you the rivets, and then I'll show you putting the snap in, because the snap is going to be on that machine. The rivets are just going to be hammered in over there. So I'll set all that up and show you. Well, just by happenstance, it turns out everything can match. I like the look of brass. It turns out I have a bunch of brass rivets and snaps, so I may as well make a match. We want the inside face on these to be flat instead of domed. So, we're going to lay them against here so they'll be flat. They're just two-piece rivets that hammer together. Put the cap on. May as well do both of them. This isn't exactly proper. It's a doming stamp, but well, it'll do. There's one. There's two. And as you can see, they're good and flat on the bottom, or on the inside rather, that's going to be against the metal of the blade. They're locked in tight. Belt loop's good. Next, we got to do the snap. For that, I'll move you over to the other machine. I don't want to spend too much time on this one. I know you've seen this before on other videos. This is the press for putting in snaps. It's the big double leg press. Take the ring, this piece. You put it on, if you can get it on. You snap it onto the top die. Take the cap, the dome, you put that through where you want it to be. You line the two up, get it touching, and then with one leg, press. Hit it once, should release. There we have that in place. That is going to go there. Now for the bottom half, we got to change the dies. It's not that difficult. You take out the top one, you take out the bottom one, you put them where they belong. You put the bottom one in first, you put the top one in on top of it, like that. These ones you don't have to snap anything into it to do the job. You put the base of it through your workpiece. You put the post on top of that. You set it in place. You keep your fingers the hell away from the dies, because the amount of pressure in this thing could really fucking hurt. And you hit it. And you hit it again. Until it's tight. There we go. Now we've got, if everything works, a working snap closure. That you can just pull off. Perfectly good. Now that that's put together, I can start stitching. Which means you're going to be on the sewing machine for the first time in a long time. I'll set you up there once I get it all cleaned up. Then we'll start stitching this knife sheath together. It has honestly been too long since I've done any sewing. Let's get this thing put together. Start at the bottom, do that long seam up to the top. We know we have plenty of room to work with, so I can do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, no problem at all. Sticking with the red and brass theme, I've got a proper jeans thread on here, so the gold color. It's going to look really, really stylish, I think. I like it anyway. Make sure this stays flat. Whoop. A little bit of a wave in my line. That's okay. I'm going to do a rivet at the top instead of stitching all the way up because of the interference of the snap and rivets that are already there. Which means we backstitch. We are. There's our first row. Where did my hook go? There's my hook. So there's the beginning. I just backed it with a military thread. So there's the beginning. There's going to be a rivet there, right next to this snap. And right to the edge there, and then I can trim that off with a knife after that little excess corner here. Now, we've got to do this one. Do it from this direction. Same thing, 1/4 inch of seam allowance. This one's going to a fold, so it'll work out a little easier. It'll at least be a little easier to keep it straight and flat. And one more, there. Now we backstitch into it. There. Well, let's see how well that knife fits in there right now. Before I decide to do any riveting on it yet. That looks pretty good. Easy to open. Slides in and out easy enough. Yeah, plenty of room, sits tight, it's solid. This lockdown is good and tight, but easy to open when necessary. Let's put it on my belt and give it a shot. Alright, sits comfortably. Slides across belt when I need it to. Opens. Easy to move it. Easy to put it back in. Closes tight. I think that's a success. We'll put that one rivet at the top there just to hold that down. And then we'll be done. I'll put one in the bottom corner too, just for the sake of argument. Alright. With that ready, nice scabbard, well, sheath. Rivet it up, it all matches, it's nice and shiny. So I got a good solid knife, ugly as it is, that I can carry is actually useful for bushcraft. And that means, with this complete, that means my bushcraft kit is now complete. The 5 tools you need. So that's going to go sit in a box until such point as I have to actually go out camping or in a survival scenario. Or if I happen to have access to a piece of land and time enough to actually go out and do some bushcraft stuff. Okay, talk to you next time.